Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's TPM5 with another NBA video. In today's video, I'll be previewing the matchup between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to start with the Boston Celtics side of things, give you my thoughts on Philadelphia, and then move on to my prediction for the game. Without further ado, let's get started. The Boston Celtics are coming off of a win against the Toronto Raptors, winning 109 to 97. Marcus Smart led the way with 21 points, and then Jayson Tatum had 10 assists, really getting some guys involved on an offensive night for himself, and Al Horford was manning the middle with 11 rebounds. So far, the Celtics are 11 and 10 to start the first 21 games of the season, and haven't been as good as what some people would have expected them to be. So far this season, Jayson Tatum has led the way, averaging 24 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 4 assists, playing the most minutes out of any player on the team. Jaylen Brown has been averaging 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 2.2 assists as that second best player in that big two they have in Boston. Schroeder's been a good addition for them, averaging 17 points and 5 rebounds as he looks to prove people wrong, looks to get his money after missing out on that big paycheck. And Al Horford's a welcome addition to the team coming back to Boston, averaging 12.5 points and 8 rebounds, filling in that gap in the center spot they needed to fill from last year. Now, just a quick break. I make NBA content 2 to 3 times a week. I'd heavily appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Also drop a like and tell me who you think's going to win this game, and let's continue. They'll be without Dennis Schroeder for this game as he's listed as out on a day-to-day basis, and then Robert Williams, Time Lord, will be out as well. So a bit of a blow for them as he is their starting center, which means we'll probably see more Al Horford center minutes. Now, so far this season, Boston have been a subpar team on offense, currently ranked as the 21st best offense in the league, behind the likes of Washington and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And on defense, it's actually quite a bit better under Ime Udoka. They're currently the 5th best defense in the league, only behind the Warriors, Clippers, Suns, and Bulls, with a defensive rating of 104.9. Now, the Boston Celtics have been inconsistent when they start and finish games. They've obviously, in the second and third quarters as of late, been pretty good. Now, I'm going to use the game against the Spurs as a specific example. They ended up losing 96 to 88 overall. However, they found themselves down by as much as 24 before they started to build a comeback, and even had a 7-point lead late in the game. However, the Spurs went on a 15-0 run to finish the game, obviously handing Boston that 8-point loss. So the Celtics, are probably in a spot in terms of their team as a whole where they probably appear better than a team with an 11-10 record. However, I guess their inability to finish games probably costs them, and it's something they're going to need to look to address. I know that teams around the league, like the Lakers, come to mind where they struggle in the third quarters. It is a thing where some teams just need to work it out and make changes before the habits set in. But overall, I think Boston have been pretty good, this season, given that they've been without Jaylen Brown for a fairly decent chunk, and it looks like they'll be making it back to the playoffs, but obviously we don't know if it's in a contending type of thing or a play-in role, similar to last year. Now, as you can see, I've got Philadelphia's training up. I'm going to start talking about them. So they have an 11-10 record on the season as well. They're without Joel Embiid for 3 weeks after, obviously he came back recently, but he was suffering from the virus. They won against the Magic 101 to 96. Seth Curry led the way, shooting very well, 10 of 13 from the field. Joel Embiid reeled down 13 rebounds in a very poor offensive night, and Tyrus Maxie was very close to a triple-double with 9 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. The Philadelphia 76ers, obviously without Ben Simmons, a key guy on their roster that takes up like $30 million in the cap, so theoretically they're playing with a lot less money, I guess, than other teams. They're 8th in the league in terms of offensive rating despite that, which is pretty good given that Ben Simmons was a key offensive playmaker for them, and on defense is probably where you can notice the fall. They're currently the 21st best defense. Obviously that can be seen as losing Ben Simmons, that can be something that negatively affected them, because he was a great defender as well for them. And the Philadelphia 76ers are shooting 36% from 3. Now, the reason I bring this up is because if Ben Simmons is to return, that kind of does help, integrate him into the roster. Obviously now they've pretty much got as much shooting as they can around him and Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons is still out with the mental health issues. Now, if he was to return, he'd be a welcome addition to the team. And, for Philadelphia to compete, they need to obviously find a trade for Ben Simmons for an all-star caliber guy like they've been trying to do with Daryl Morey obviously holding out, or having him return could also be very helpful. Now, so far this season, Joel Embiid's been their best player, averaging 23.5 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. Not really an MVP candidate like last year, however, still obviously an way above average superstar of our league. Tobias Harris has been averaging 20 points and 8 rebounds as well, along with 4 assists. So another key player for the team. And another guy that has impressed me at least is Tyrus Maxie. Now he is playing the most minutes out of any player on this team. However, he's averaging 18.5 points, 4 rebounds and 5 assists, filling in that kind of point guard, scoring and somewhat playmaking gap left by Ben Simmons. And then you have guys like Georges Niang, who's been a great addition to the team in the forward spot, adding some more shooting to a roster which with the backbone of the roster can always do with more shooting. Now this game itself, here's my prediction, it'll be pretty close, but I think that Philadelphia probably have enough in terms of, they're just probably bigger and better. I think Joel Embiid will dominate the Celtics, and I'm going to go with Philly for the win. Now that is the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.